Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is Monday, September 28th. Beautiful Monday. I hope all is well. I hope everyone's doing great. I'm going to be posting kind of a daily video here, lesson to go through for you guys moving forward. So let me go over this real quick so everyone's on the same page. The new plan should be on the Google Classrooms that lessons will be submitted in the beginning of the week. So everything you need to do for the week is on there. If you have class 5 days, all the lessons, IXL. 3 days, all the lessons can be supplemented with IXL. 1 day, 1 lesson. Alright, if you have class 5 days, I need to account for about 10 hours of work, which is also going to include the attendance question in there. So just do the lessons and you'll get credit for class. Today what we're going to do is we're going to just review some IXL questions so everyone's on the same page. Alright, so here's the PowerPoint. You should have looked this over for yesterday based on the video. I'm not going to go through it again because that was the video from yesterday. So I'm just going to leave it up here, show you, make sure you go onto the Google page and review this video. Compare and contrast, problem and solution, cause and effect. It's got all the information you need to know. Sequence. Alright, this is what text structure is, description. Alright. So, for class today, I just want to go over a few of the IXL questions so we're all on the same page. Alright. So, IXL should not be a mystery to anybody at this point. IXL.com/sign-in/JobCorps. Alright, so I'm signing in. This is my sign in. Okay. When you guys get in here, we're going to go learning. Recommendations. See skills suggested by your teacher. So I put in 5 on top. Problems and solutions, compare and contrast. Cause and effect, compare information, problems. Alright, so this is what text structure is. So we're going to go through these. We're going to go back to this real quick. Just so everybody is on the same page. It's going to be suggested there, but if you go to learning, you're going to language arts, obviously. Math, you're going to be in math. You're going to go to skill plans. You're going to scroll down to the bottom of the page, and you're going to have your TABE skill plans. Don't worry about language, right? It's only reading. So, M and D is where you're at. If you have questions, you should know what test you're going to take. Majority, you're going to be on the M. But if you click on the reading M, then all your skills are right here. Sorry for distraction. We got a group chat with all the other teachers and it's blown up right now. Alright, so anything you see starred, I've starred for you. This has been a skill that we should have practiced, okay? As you can see, it's a whole bunch, alright, and we've still got more to go through. So, yeah. So, for your M folks, that's where you're at. And for your D folks, this is where you're at, okay? But for today's short video, we're just going to go ahead and go to the lessons I've suggested. So, recommendations, skills suggested by your teacher. Alright, so starting with problems and solutions, we've got 5. If anybody gets through these 5, I commend you. I recommend it, and I will check and I'll put more up there. But this is how I'd recommend going through these IXL questions. Alright, match the problems and solutions. Let's go back to our PowerPoint. Review our PowerPoint. What's a problem and solution? It's an organization where events in a passage are expressing a dilemma or concerning issue, problem, and that something can be done or should be done to remedy the solution. Alright? These are words: because, since, consequently, so that, solution, however, therefore. These are your problem and solution. This is what it is. There's a problem, you're going to find a solution for it. Alright, so let's read the text. People needed to measure time long before they had clocks. One of the earliest time-keeping devices was a sundial. Sundials measured time based on where the sun was in the sky. Even after the clocks were invented, people still set their clocks based on the sun. This meant each city had its own local time. Railroads couldn't keep useful timetables of trains when they would arrive and leave cities. Which cities should they use? To improve timekeeping so that it worked for everyone, U.S. railroads divided the continent into 4 time zones. Alright, so that's the problem with their solutions. People wanted to measure time, so did they make zones or did they use sundials? People needed clear timetables. Alright, let's see what it said. Railroads couldn't use useful timetables of when trains would arrive and leave cities. Which city's time should they use? To improve timekeeping so it worked for everybody, U.S. railroads divided the continent into 4 time zones. So they needed clear timetables, they made time zones. Sundials measured time based on where the sun was in the sky. Even after clocks were invented, people still set the clocks based on the sun. So why? People want to measure time, they use sundials. Alright, does it make sense? Go through these, problem and solution. Alright, there's your first one. Alright, so we're going to go back. And let's look at compare and contrast. So if you get stuck, this is where we need to take a little bit of self-ownership on our learning. Alright, instead of just clicking, oh, I don't know. Go back, review your PowerPoint. Let's try to find compare and contrast, alright? What is a compare and contrast? It's finding similarities and differences. You're comparing 2 things that are alike, you're contrasting 2 things that are different. Alright, so let's see how we would use it in a TABE or IXL situation. Use the text to compare and contrast a planet and a moon. What is the difference between a moon and a planet? For one thing, a planet moves in an orbit around a star. One difference, alright? Orbits around a planet. By contrast, the moon orbits around a planet. There's our word, contrast, difference. So which one orbits around a planet? Orbits around a planet. Does a planet orbit around a planet? No. A moon does. Also, a planet must be big enough to clear smaller objects out of its orbit by destroying them or changing their path. What needs to be big enough to clear its orbit? It says it right there. Planet. Okay? So, it just takes a little bit of diligence to read through the questions. They're not that challenging. I guarantee everybody can pass your TABE test. You just need to be patient. Take your time. Read through the questions. Like this one. One more. And then we'll jump on to the next one. The words soldier and warrior are considered synonyms. We've done synonyms. Words that mean the same thing, right? But they have somewhat different meanings. Soldier usually describes someone who's paid to be in an army. A soldier fights against another army in a war. A warrior also fights in a battle of war. So there's the comparison. However, a warrior is usually not part of an army. There's the contrast. However, right? So how do we know? Look, contrast words. Although different, however, okay? Alike as well. Those are the comparisons. So, who fights in a war? It says a soldier fights another army in a war. A warrior also fights in war. So a warrior and a soldier. But which one is usually not part of an army? There's our contrast. However, a warrior is usually not part of an army. Boom. Make sense? Bedow. Alright? So, go through these questions. You can do it. I have faith in every single one of you. Let's see what else we got. I put up here for you. Alright, problem solution. Cause and compare and contrast. Alright, let's do cause and effect. Cause and effect. Something happens because of what? Alright? So what's that comparison like? Let's go back to our PowerPoint and review. It's a relationship when something happens and makes something else happen. A cause creates the effect. Alright? The cause is why it happens, and the effect is causes why it happens. No. This is wrong. I just called myself. Let's fix this. An effect is what happens. Alright. If the floor was wet and I slipped on the floor, the effect was I fell. What caused me to fall? The floor was wet. Alright? Makes sense? Cause is why it happened. The effect is what happened. So let's go back to our IXL. How do chameleons change color? One kind of chameleon has skin that contains 2 layers of cell. These cells contain crystals. When the crystals in the upper layer are close together, the chameleon looks blue. At other times, the crystals stretch apart so the chameleon looks yellow or red. Alright, so the cause is what happened. Crystals squeeze together. The crystals spread apart. So the effect is what happens. The chameleon looks blue. Alright, when the crystals in the upper layer are close together, they look blue. So when they squeeze together or close together, they look blue. When they stretch apart, they look yellow or red. Cause and effect. Alright, let's do one more. Around 406 CE, Attila the Hun was born in what is now Hungary. Attila worked to create a terrifying reputation far and wide. This ultimately led to his taking power and becoming the sole ruler of the Hunnic Empire, which expanded throughout his rule. After Attila's death in 453 CE, his 3 sons fought for control of the empire. Because of this fighting, people in the empire were able to successfully rebel, and the Hunnic Empire ended. Alright, so now let's look at the effects. Attila's family fought. Attila terrified people. Alright, what caused these effects? Look at these causes. What caused the effects? The effects is that he became king and the empire fell. Alright, so it says right here, his 3 sons fought over the control because of the fighting. There's our cause and effect word. Because the empire was able to rebel and the Hunnic Empire ended. So, because his family fought, the empire fell. He was a terrifying reputation far and wide. He terrified people. Since he terrified people, they were afraid of him, and he became king. Alright? Cause and effect. I hope this is making sense as we go through these questions. And then here's one more. Comparing information. Alright. So, during World War II, the United States government developed the atomic bomb. This powerful weapon had never been built. However, experts believe that with the right skills and technology, it could be done. They needed lots of space to build the bomb. They also needed factories, workers, and places for people to live. Thus, in 1942, the government built the town of Oak Ridge in Tennessee. They designed so people would want to live there. Oak Ridge had built bowling alleys, skating rinks, tennis courts, and even a dance hall. Young people came from all over the country to work in Oak Ridge's factory. What are 2 details that are included in the text? I had no idea they were helping the atomic bomb. It was created by the government, yes, and had bowling alleys. So, 2 details, good. Alright, hope this makes sense. Go through these questions. Please review the PowerPoint. And there's a YouTube video from yesterday on going through this PowerPoint very quickly. Also, as you review this, I've put some links in the video. Please check them out. Here's one that you can compare and contrast. Here's a little Quizlet you can do for flashcards, which is very helpful. But all this will help you with your tape test. Okay? So please, I'm on Google Meet every morning. Please, let's go through these questions. We're going to go through these, review them, and just have like a regular class through the internet. I hope everyone has a great day. and I'll talk to you soon.